Welcome back, everybody, to Gears Pro League Split for day number 6. I'm Taylor Reflections, and we're joined by Colin and Crow Clark. Was it pork chops? What were you eating?
A second helping of that picture I sent you earlier.
Oh, what was that? It was good. It looked good.
Pan-seared chicken breast, tenderloins with a little salt and pepper as the seasoning. Got a little butter in there to try to keep it nice and moist over a bed of rice.
I love it.
A little bit of a health meal for my wife and I. She's been working her butt off since the baby was born, so I've been trying to do a meal here, a meal there, try to do something to, give back to her, because all she does is make our lives easier by being the best mom and the best wife on the planet.
I love it, dude. I honestly, the praise that you give your wife, you're just Colin, I love you. I really do.
More.
I don't know why you talking about your wife makes me love you more, but I love you.
I love you more. I love you more. There will never be a day where I don't love you more, because, and this is not for me taking a jab at you. I am physically bigger than you are. I am therefore able to love you with more of myself.
Again, it doesn't have to be a jab. Why do we always have to bring up my height?
I don't want you to feel like it was a jab. I was like, my man's going to assume this is a jab, and it's not. You're
5'10", right?
It's the same argument I use with my wife when she's like, I love you more. Yeah.
I'm wearing boots whenever we cast together, or whenever I see you in general. I'm wearing boots. Let's talk about.
I've been wearing
rosters.
A lot of slip-ons, so you're fine.
Bring your Crocs. I'm wearing boots.
Yo, don't test me. How'd you know I got Crocs?
Wear your suit with Crocs, man. That could be a lot of fun to see. And then flex them. Anyways, Pioneers, Pittsburgh Knights. Let's break down the rosters. We first talk about KCP. For the longest time, champions who refused to be dethroned. They lost their first major in the last one, and now they're trying to regain. Regain season is here. Bronny, Xysho, Acells, and Hndles.
Yeah, one of the most impressive situations we've ever seen out of Acells and Hndles, putting together back to back. I think that was 5 major championship wins in this game with different variations of their squad, different teammates on their squad. Xysho being added, the longest tenured member next to Bronny, finally being added 2 majors ago. But they are now in a position they have never been in, ladies and gentlemen. They have lost a major. And sometimes you lose that big game, you lose that big edge, and you don't have that same swagger, that same confidence you had going into those games. That's the thing that it almost looks like Rise has now acquired, is that next level, that confidence, that skill, that brash bravado, that smoothness. So I'm going to see, this is a big test for the Pioneers tonight. All last split, I said I'm going to pick the Pioneers until you beat the Pioneers. I finally picked against them after they lost the first time in the major, so I'll be curious to see how they do tonight, because this is a massive test. The Pittsburgh Knights are no joke. They are nothing to scoff at.
100%. Now, something to take into account. KCP did beat Pittsburgh Knights round 1 of Emergence Days last week. More on that in a little bit. But first, let's break down Pittsburgh Knights, the heart and soul of Latin America, just because, again, there's always there's great teams. We just saw Rebel, a great example of what Latin American representation can be. But they've got Identivez and Dezo and Raver and Fearzly. All 4 of these guys have a tremendous history in Gears esports, but also in Gears 5 and just in general representing their region. These guys are incredible, but they did seem to take a bit of a week off last week, Colin.
Yeah, really rough week last week. The 3-0 loss to Northern Forces, the way that they were just playing pretty much senselessly, head-downing a lot of things that they don't normally find themselves doing, not shooting for one another, not playing for one another, not trying to make an example out of their opponents. I think that they have the ability to get back on to that situation. They have the ability to get back into that same form that makes them one of the best and most feared players on the planet. I'll be curious to see how they go with this week's matchup against the Pioneers.
So KCP, they've been having a bit of struggle whenever it comes to this split specifically. And I don't know if a lot of that stems from their loss in the major finally being dethroned. Maybe it was, but even traditionally going back, they would always perform well in majors, but they stopped caring about, E-Days. They didn't really play as hard in E-Days. They didn't really play as hard in the Pro League itself. And I think we're starting to see that almost more severe this time around. But one player that has always been on KCP since the very beginning, including for their come up to obviously their reign over Gears 5 has been Hndles. Hndles is a miraculous player the menace, if you will, 21, 25, and 29 when it comes to his overall standings. Not the most impressive numbers, though, I gotta admit.
Not the most impressive numbers, but I think Hndles' spotlight necessarily is almost never in his statistical advantages. Hndles, to me, is a lot like a defensive middle linebacker for his team. He keeps the other team from getting the players and plays that they want to have happen, where they're able to not really push across the map because Hndles finds a way to either flank out, get a Lancer on, take a 1v1 to try to stall out whatever play has been called by the opponent. Hndles' stats might not be reflective of the level of ability that man has, but everything he does reflect his level of ability. He is never going to give you less than 150%. He's always going to give you your best shot.
And if Hndles was bad statistically, KCP wouldn't have found success as they did. If he was that weak, right, he wouldn't have found success. That's a fact. So Hndles is a dominant player, and you put that with his long-term duo of Acells. Like these guys, buddy duo, they make it happen. And now with Bronny and Xysho, they're an incredible roster. But let's dive a bit deeper into our picks and bans. And this time, there's not going to be any stipulations like the last series. It should be all 5 maps being played through. So, Colin, what maps won't we have?
No Reactor, no Spire for your control maps, no Execution on a Fira or Clock Tower, and no Harbor. So, probably going to end up seeing Vaskar again. You're going to get that checkout Execution more likely than not. No Reactor, no Spire. I think you're going to see Ritual more likely, and I would say Ritual in District.
Well, the fact that KCP gets Spire and a Fear out of the way,
Regency?
They're happy with that. But Regency starting off a bit, I would say 50-50.
That is a shock
good there.
to me.
Well, let's talk about it. Why is that?
I just don't. Every time I see the Knights pick Regency, they pick it and then struggle tremendously on it. Like, they might win it, but they never win it convincingly. They might lose it, but they lose it harsher than you would have expected. Like, it's just never easy. It just does not ever end up well for them. I'm befuddled by that pick. Training Grounds Escalation is another one because the Knights actually struggled on that map, I believe, just last night when we had them on broadcast.
Yeah. It's interesting.
This is a weird setup.
Well, weird as it is, who are you leaning towards for it to benefit? Because it sounds like KCP just based off of map 1 alone. And not
are
your
we
prediction
going straight
either.
to prediction?
No, I'm not asking your prediction, but I mean, now that you see this, the first time you're looking at the 5 maps along with me, we talked about Regency maybe not benefiting that of Pittsburgh Knights, despite them picking that. I think KCP did their homework and they got what they wanted.
You know what? The Pioneers really look like they put themselves in the best position possible to win this series. I'm going to go straight into my prediction, Taylor. If I may be so bold, the Pioneers did their homework. They got the map pool that they wanted, and they are really putting the Knights in a very difficult position to have to win this series. And the Pioneers, you said it last week on E-Days, take them out in round 1. Pioneers historically have been the bane of the Knights' existence. Pioneers seem to have everything on their side of this weight class in their check box. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Knights to beat the Pioneers tonight.
And I want to clarify, he got permission from the voice of God to change his prediction. I knew he was going with PK, but I really thought he was going KCP. I really thought you were flipping after seeing those 5 maps. And man, it sucks you didn't flip because I'm thinking about flipping. I tell you what.
Flip. If you want to go with them, go with them. I'm not going to be mad at you. No. I'm giving Taylor the same
media by Hunter
same permission.
Say in what I can do. The voice of God gave me permission. Well, you didn't, but you gave Colin permission. Therefore, you inherently gave me permission.
I guess that's how that works.
This is so hard, and this is one that I really.
Can I give you a piece of advice, Taylor? Can I give you a piece of advice? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, count to 5, say the first team name that comes to your mind.
1, 3, 2, 5, 4, 5. I'm going KCP.
All right.
It's so hard. I don't know if I want to go with them, though. I'm going KCP.
It's already up there. It's locked in. You and Blaze. You and Blaze today.
Wow, that's not an easy choice. I initially was going PK. Wow, that's not an easy choice.
You have to feel. That's why I told you to close your eyes and just say the first team name that comes, because your gut will always steer you in the right direction for yourself. You'll never be able to second guess yourself because you now have gone with your gut. Where did chat go?
Where are you going?
Chat, are you with me or are you with Taylor?
There's no other choice. PK. They're going. You knew that. Come on. You already. That's such a hard pick, man. I don't like getting emotional during all this stuff, but like, bruh, like Pittsburgh Knights have been just wonderful. They've been incredible. They've been lights out. They took a stumble in E-Days. They took a stumble last week. But man, do I think they can win this series. And I'll tell you why it hurts to go with KCP. I'll tell you why. Because KCP forfeited yesterday. They have, I don't know if they've been scrimming. I'm going to be completely real with all of you guys. And they've been losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. And they've been going the distance against teams they shouldn't be going the distance against. I don't think, quite blatantly, I don't think KCP right now is on the level of Pittsburgh Knights. I genuinely don't. However, I saw Hndles in chat. He was chatting it up. He was talking, which means he's engaged. And I do think KCP just simply, as bad as they've been playing, I don't think they want to lose to PK. So I think they win this series. But I think PK is the better all-around team. And that is so weird to say because I went with KCP.
I got to ask you this, Taylor. Is this like a win-win for me? Because if Knights win, I win a pick and I go up one on you and Blaze.
Yeah.
If the Knights lose and the Pioneers win, still not like a bad night for me all of a sudden. It's not like I'm going to be crying in my bed tonight losing.
You're incredible. You're
I'll
right.
Tell you what, I put myself in a great spot, baby. I put myself in a great spot. Early in this one, though, it is going to be the Pioneers winning that Rose Garden fight and already leaving Hndles up top to the right-hand side. He's going to be there, the first line of protection against the respawn of the right end of the map toward the respawn area. He's going to be trying to sneak one kill. I think he got seen right there.
All right, good breakout for KCP. They've got total control of everything except the M-bar and spawn control. What you doing with those nades? Throws them out there. Nobody to kill from his own team. That's a good thing, but he will take down Identivez. Another one sent flying at the feet of a PK member, sending him back. And Fearzly can't even connect onto him. Xysho forced to buck up, and I cannot believe Pittsburgh Knights just let Xysho own him the way he did. Enemy marked.
What are you trying to say about Xysho?
Bro, Xysho just popped. Did you not witness?
What are you trying to say about Xysho?
I'm saying he's incredible.
All right, I'm just making sure.
Saying
you said I can't believe
according to Hunter,
Xysho
is the best player to ever play Gears 5.
Contact incoming.
And I may have just seen that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cut Taylor Reflections Noble off for the rest of the night. He has decided that he is he's taking the night off, guys. Taking the night off.
I'm just telling you what Hunter has actually said. And argued with
Hunter.
Brent about.
I thought you were proclaiming that
I didn't say no. Hey, listen, let me tell you, I like Xysho. I love Xy. I think Xysho's incredible. Do I think he's the best player in Gears 5? I don't. But I do think he's great at what he is and what he does, and you can't deny the success he's had. 100%. 100%. I don't even want to get into this discussion. I just wanted to throw it out there and skim by it and just throw Hunter under the bus, which is very fun to do.
I mean, right now it's 125-0, Taylor. Have you been watching this since we got off track?
Yes. No, I didn't get off track. I was talking about the game. I was talking about Xysho being incredible.
I know, but I'm saying the
you're the one eating chicken and rice while trying to
get around the map.
I'm not off track.
I'm doing it right now. No, you were talking about media by Hunter and what he has said before. Right here, Hndles is set up in this mid hallway, and this is a beautiful spot. But again, the Knights, they haven't won one team fight yet.
Yeah, it's pretty.
They have been. I mean, this. Why do they keep picking Regency?
Yeah.
Like, my God.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a bit rough, but you know, again, to talk about composure and comeback ability, I think Pittsburgh Knights are 100% that roster that can come back despite them being down. They've got 3 points, nothing to sing about, nothing to, write home about, but still, though, it is a start to a bigger lead, and I think they're going to definitely come back. This is going to end a lot more competitive than it started. You have my word. Boy,
Flash grenade. No. Flash grenade at Raver. I'm trying to take a look at the positioning because you have the 1v1 up top between Hndles and I believe Identivez, which is huge. I think that's the spot because Hndles is just going to hold him off because the next hill is the T-table. They've got to now go back through the Pioneers. This is where the Pioneers are using their score lead as another defender. They're going to go straight into that next spot to the T-table and ensure that they're not going to get flanked out by leaving Bronny on this side of the map. This has been a picture-perfect rotation for the Pioneers right now. If the Pioneers get a team fight win right here, this is literally all because they had a better rotation and a better game plan.
Bronny holding his ground. Took on Dezo a little bit earlier, but Fearzly pushes up onto him. Takes too much damage from the back. That was Fearzly obviously capitalized onto that, but he had help from Identivez from afar. And the KCP in control of P4 and quite a bit of pressure from KCP, even though they are within the hill. Pittsburgh Knights are struggling to get in, but they do find a way. That's the most important part. Great job. We talked about in the beginning them struggling to win team fights, and that was very true, but Pittsburgh Knights have definitely woken up. And again, this is going to be more competitive than it started. KCP now have to be the ones to break the defensive setup of PK. They're going to try and do it with the bulk of players heading through mid.
Raver up top here, 137 to 75. I'm trying to take a look. That's a big flash. He's going to get stunned. They're not going to pressure him because of the 90-degree angle, but Bronny, good little stutter step right there. Keeps him away from the first shot of the M-bar. He rolls back. He's looking for a secondary shot here. Hits Hndles, but, I mean, it's too little too late. You got to hit Bronny on his way in before he flies at your teammate to the backside of the T-table. It's still a double-point lead for the Pioneers, and I mean, the Pioneers are ready. They're ready to throw hands yet again at next hill. 20 seconds left, and the Pioneers are starting to rotate over early.
That early rotation is definitely going to be beneficial. KCP starting to gain even more of a lead, which is starting to get pretty scary, and maybe I might be getting my words that I said a little bit earlier. Identivez and Fearzly desperately trying to break out. Look at the flank from Acells. Normally you see Hndles in that spot, but this time around it's Acells, and he's making quick work of him. Bronny is there, and he will get Acells back onto his feet. Incredible job. Well coordinated. The communication was clearly on point in that moment.
On target.
It's another early rotation by the Pioneers. They're trying to set up early. They're trying to make life a little bit harder on the Knights as they rotate around. They're going to be up over the 180 marker before they even get into the next position to take this fight back. You see Fearzly, middle of the map, trying to push in through that middle where the shock grenade spawns at. They're trying to get Lancer angles onto Bronny. But, I mean, they're going to get shredded as they come up these small steps. Even though it's 3 players wolf packing, Hndles hits a big brick there. 1 player's going to go down. They finally get a kill, but look at the way Bronny's playing. He's playing outside of chunk range. He's not going to give you the chance to up A into him. He's not going to give you the chance to get the one-hit Aquita. He's literally just playing for the damage, the full spreads. The Pioneers are going to be well up over 200 points in the next 5-10 seconds because the Knights aren't going to have another chance to retake this hill. By the time they get it back across the map, it's a dead hill. It's now got to go to P5. It's got to go all the way across the top left of the map, and you see what the Knights have done. They've tried to leave their players in the middle of the map to try to play defense here for the next rotation.
Ooh, nice shot. Good lineup. 2 more he's got to deal with. It's hard to get up those steps when Xysho's hitting shots like that and Acells is breathing down your neck. And in fact, speaking of which, DK is definitely on the back pedal. Xysho hitting yet another shot into Fearzly. That's 2 for 2, at least from what we've seen on screen. Can we get 3 for 3? Not so lucky, but the end result is Raver falls regardless, and that was up to Bronny. And at this point, 219 to 76. Things are starting to look grim. Identivez inside the hill. Spots Pioneers obviously encroaching on their space. One good thing about KCP, with them taking member after member of PK and pushing in the direction that they did, they now have spawn control. Now the last thing is to eliminate member after member of Pittsburgh Knights, force them to respawn out. Fearzly picks up a kill, but it's not going to amount to much. KCP takes spawn control, then they take over the hill. They did it properly. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from KCP. This is the KCP that is scary.
I'm going to say that once they got into that position where they were able to take over the close respawn, they were going to play that patiently. They were going to force the Knights to spawn out and then come across the front side of the hill. They could then take the 1v1 out to the back, which is what they did. They've now pushed up into the hill. Shot over the top. Bronny looking for one more player to maybe go for the back A, but he hits him with the 45. Another up A comes out. All the bouncing in the world, all the movement is not going to save you from the great shot hitters that are the Pioneers right now, up over 250 before they even get into the next position. I mean, I don't want to say chalk it just yet, but this is without a doubt an incredible map won by the Pioneers. They have put the Knights on notice here.
Definitely have, and they're looking to close it out. They won't be able to do it off of this hill, but Colin, they are so dangerously close now, 40 points away. Bit of a missed shot from Xysho. I think he hits the corner, but that definitely would have connected. Fearzly, new M-bar in his hands. He's going to get out of there. And I love that KCP is looking to bleed this hill dry as much as possible. They'll get an additional 4 points. We have to go back to the start. A bit of a battle. Identivez, some rare whiffs. He unfortunately will fall, and Pioneers get even closer now, 266. And if they get control of the next hill, I mean, my lord, as we're back to P1, we might not see a P2, which is, I mean, this is a rare sight. Normally we get through it at least until statue, but this one might end a lot quicker than we're used to.
Wolfpack is pretty good right now. Dezo's going to continue to back away from those two players, lancering out as best as he can. He realizes the only help he has is behind him. Turns his head away from that flashbang, make sure he doesn't get stunned. They're going to get the double kill here. Bronny, last player alive. He's going to hit a big shot there to get the down. Now he's looking for the second kill, but it's going to be Dezo with a meat shield in front of him. He's going to get some help from the stairwell. Big body shot there, gets the down, and now another kill comes through. This could be a 100-point threshold breaking hill for the side of the Knights. It has to be, or they will lose here.
I think they will. They're gonna break 100 for sure, but KCP, they're not sweating it too much. I mean, they're not really even pushing into roses. They are more focused on locking in spawn control for the next hill that's going to be coming up. They might make one-ditch effort, and they actually are going to do that. Dezo is going to be the tip of the spear for Pittsburgh Knights. Raver's already dropped the Acells, so that push is effectively going to stop. And surprisingly, KCP committed nearly everything to go for the roses, and by doing so, they lose it all. They lose not only the points that they weren't going to gain anyways, but they lose spawn control. I don't know if that was the best play to make.
27-point differential now between the Pioneers and a map 1 win. They will back off of this hill. Nobody from the Pioneers is going to rotate into that position to try to get those last 16 seconds to basically take a commanding lead to the point where it's almost null and void whatever the Pioneers do. Acells will pick up the new M-bar. A bit of love there in the middle of the map being given out. Acells looking for a shot here on Dezo. Misses the shot out at the top. Dezo's going to take this back position. They have to try to Lancer out to the front side of this hill to try to get it down on him. Quick little reload. 4 shots left to work, but 3 in the chamber and the 1 just outside. These batteries come flying out instantaneously. No bullet travel, no velocity. These are traveling at the speed of light necessarily. Some more intuitive weapons that Damon Baird helped construct after the end of Gears 3 in the war against the Locusts when they were during Reconstruction.
Oh, he needed that. He needed that. Doesn't get... Oh, that's going to be a team elimination. You hate to see that. And that could very well put a damper on KCP's ability to be able to continue to push forward, and it does. Meanwhile, Identivez trying to hold one player from KCP at bay. That's going to be Bronny, and he will do so. Pittsburgh Knights are not roaring back, but they're coming back. Either way, though, KCP finds some real estate. Important connections need to be made. Smoke disrupting the vision, but it still seems KCP continues to put up. But look, Pittsburgh Knights do it. Now, for KCP, the worry that I have, and I have this worry for multiple teams, it's not even just Kansas City Pioneers, but in this moment, when you have such a tremendous lead, you get tunnel vision on finishing out the game. You're like, they can't come back. There's no way. We're, what, 27 points away from victory?
I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off, Taylor. They haven't gotten tunnel vision at all. They put Bronny in the best possible position to try to take over the close respawn. Once Bronny lost the 1v, at the close respawn, you have to push it. You don't have any other option because they're going to bring that 4th player up there and take a numbers advantage. Once again, Bronny to the bottom side of the map. They brought help over. Bronny has to drop the shock because they have to try to take over the initial of this hill. They've made the correct plays. It's just the shots are not coming through for them right now. That shot comes through. Hndles picks up the meat shield. They get it down onto Raver, and they have somebody waiting at the close respawn. If they can win this fight here, this should be all she said and done with 26 seconds to go. But Dezo, he's trying to have something to say about it. Hits the secondary shot, but he's going to go down. Inside of the hill is Acells, and now you have to run all the way across the map. It takes about 15 seconds to do so. and I just don't believe they're going to be able to do it at all. They're going to go down by the time they get to the baby steps, and this should be the end of map 1. The Pioneers made the correct plays, Taylor. They did not get tunnel vision at all. I don't want anybody to get that twisted. They played for the close respawns. When they lost it, they made the only decision they could. They then early rotated, set up, waited for the Pittsburgh Knights to try to push across to get to P3. And we're waiting in the wings, got the kills, got the setup, and then finished, then closed out the map. I love you, brother. I know what you're talking about, but that, I mean, right there, the Pioneers did everything correct for the last 5 minutes. They just lost fights.
I'm not offended by it, brother. Look, if I missed something, you got to educate the viewers, and that's the most important thing. We're here to highlight the players, and in that case, they clearly made the right play, which is something that I didn't see. You know, I simply didn't because I was trying to build up one narrative in my own head. But for KCP, well done. That's a tremendous victory. 300 to 168, Colin. But again, going back to your initial point, when we saw the picket bans, we saw the 5 maps, Pittsburgh Knights choose Regency, a map that they continually struggle on, yet they continually pick it. I don't know why that is.
Again, it's kind of a head scratcher. They do a pretty good job there toward the end to at least get into that 150 point range or so. They get close to it. I don't know if they necessarily made it to 150, but they had 2 really good hills back to back there. We're not going to see in the early goings of these replays. I don't even know if we'll see it necessarily toward the end on the mini-maps, and I can point it out to you. But what the Pioneers' biggest slip-up is the only time they got a little out of pocket, a little out of hand, was the Rose Garden Hill. They took fights in a way that they necessarily don't, I don't want to say shouldn't have, but they don't have to. Where instead of splitting the 2-2, trying to find the extra angles, it was one after the next, all with shotguns out. Nobody really lancering out the way that they had. And then you saw them immediately kind of tie that up, put the bow tie back on, and button up with the dress shirt, baby. Because they all of a sudden said, we're going to send Bronny in the 1v. He's extraordinary at that. We'll smoke out. We'll try to push through the backside of the hill. It was just too little too late. They'd already rotated up. You can see that pinch right there. It was a beautiful gameplay, but at the end of the day, Pioneers just one step ahead, honestly. One step ahead the entire map, and that's why you see pretty much a dominant scoreline. Not necessarily overwhelming, and it could have been. I mean, granted, if it weren't for that reset on the Rose Garden, it could have been much worse than that. I believe it was like 79 points or 78 points that the Knights had before going back-to-back hills. That is an incredible performance by the Pioneers. That is film and footage that they can hang their hat on because they see that they button back up and they continue to make those correct play calls. Knights, good job. Way to stay gamey. They got to go into map 2. They got to win this one. You can't go down 2-0 to the Pioneers. They're too good with a lead.
You can't. You can't. No, 100%. And KCP, an emotional team. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They're hard to stop. That's just the way it is. KCP at this point, they've got to be feeling great. They've got to be feeling confident. Tomb isn't a bad map for them either. So they're going into that map feeling even more confident, I had to assume. It's not going to be an easy victory, though. Not by a stretch of the imagination. Identivez is going to be a large portion for that, and I expect them to have plenty of pop-up plays. Granted, Identivez not having the best stats, though, in map 1, but can't really just point at him, can we? Pittsburgh Knights lose 300 to 168, so that's a pretty decisive victory. Now, I can give some positive and praise towards the roster of KCP. We talked about Xysho more in an entertainment form. I called out Media by Hunter and the Xysho thing and all that stuff. It was just banter more than anything. But I do want to bring it back to Xysho and why I think he is incredible for who he is. Xysho, when he joined Vanquish at the time, now Kansas City Pioneers, that's when they started winning. Xysho has been a large reason to, or at least a large portion for the success and the championships that Vanquish and now Kansas City Pioneers have been able to accumulate. And I owe a lot of success of that to Xysho. He came in as the IGL, but also, more importantly, he's a selfless player. And the assist and the damage that he is able to rack up is genuinely incredible. Even on Regency, he picks up 20 assists, the most in the entire lobby, 13,000 damage done, nearly 14,000. It would have been more if it was a bit of a closer score line. And also, to highlight another player that I'm a big fan of, and I've been a big fan of him even all the way back when he was on the People's Champs, Bronny. Bronny is Bronny is Chavi's great in his own right, but Bronny is incredible. And Bronny 14-5 with 13 assists, 15k damage, the most damage done in the entire lobby. And he was doing a lot of that by playing off angles, but more importantly, disrupting hills. So I've been really impressed with Bronny and Xysho. Those two have really, I could sing their praises all day when it comes down to their gameplay just in map number 1. But we head into map 2, Tomb Execution. Let's see if PK can answer back.
This is a map that the Pioneers have struggled on at times. They've had some weak moments on this map. Acells, though, when he gets to that back pillar area and he tortures like he just did, that's when the Pioneers are rolling on this map, and they are rolling in round 1. Early damage advantages across the board. One of the things that I was taught very early on when I was playing a lot of matches with like Guy Blaze and Jacob, talking about execution, talking about how you play execution, is learning your damage advantage. When you get that early brick on somebody, play out to them and play quick. Get into their face, make them a little bit nervous. If they miss that first shot and you get a second shot down after hitting both bricks, you have to make sure that you make your opponent pay for even trying to take that fight against you. That's exactly what Acells did, and that's what Hndles did across the backside of that mid planter. This time, it's going to be the Knights who are going to take advantage of their own damage advantage. It's a beautiful situation right here. Both teams playing to the best of their ability. Hndles, we're going to try to get at least 1 kill here.
Well, won't be able to get it, and it's going to be 1-1 all tied up for Pittsburgh Knights and Kansas City Pioneers heading into round 3. This is where PK needs to answer back. Again, being down 2-0 in the series. Not going to make the job any easier for Pittsburgh Knights. And, man, I'm curious how this round 3 is going to work out and who we should even watch. I mean, Fearzly, obviously, with his first blood, he's had a big impact, specifically in round 2, because round 1, they didn't pick up a single elim. But Fearzly already taking a ton of damage, yet still confidently pushes up the tree. But Bronny's not going to let him feel too comfortable. He's going to be just opposite of him. We have a bit of a 4v4 stalemate. Nobody going for the torque.
Nobody going for the torque bow yet. You're going to see Fearzly knotted up here. Fearzly can't pressure because of the 2 players to the left and the right there. Across from him, you see what Bronny's doing. He's holding down this angle, just kind of shifting back and forth, not allowing anybody to get into that position. Acells is going to go to the back pillar. Acells has to get challenged now, and that's exactly what he did in the first round. Big back A by Fearzly helps try to answer that back, but it's 3v2 now. 2 players left for the Knights. Pioneers have the man advantage. They don't have the damage advantage necessarily. Fearzly goes for a back A on the left-hand side of that planter, but he's going to go down, and now Xysho, he's going to try to bait a wrap shot out, but I mean, that's not going to work any way, shape, form, or fashion. Identivez will be taken down, and that will be 2 rounds on the board for the side of the Pioneers.
Well done, Pioneers. Nobody going for the torque bow. Straight up 4v4 fight in mid, and well, we saw the end result of that. Acells, the only casualty from the side of Kansas City Pioneers in round 3. Round 4 could be just as interesting. Wouldn't surprise me if we do see a bit of a change from Pittsburgh Knights' perspective. Maybe send a player for the torque bow, let Pioneers do what they do in mid. Give them a little bit of control with the ideology that obviously you're getting a power weapon in return, but no, 4v4. Bronny, huge aggressive push. The shot just over the head of Fearzly, who transferred to Acells, who will pick up 1. Now brought down to a 3v2. Pioneers with a bit of a lead now, none, as all players will be completely done for. And that's the risk you run when you go for the mid strat, Colin. You can have very quick rounds, and you never know if it's going to go your way.
I really think that what you're looking for if you're the Knights is a little bit more of a gracious, Colin, a little bit more return on your investment from Identivez. You trade straight up monkeys for Identivez. But right now, he is struggling here in map 2 against the Pioneers. Maybe looking to get him to be that kind of superstar player he was at one point. Dezonide's going to go to the bottom side of the map, pick up the torque bow. Long shot. Has not been picked up yet on the side of the Pioneers. Still hasn't been picked up. It's finally going to get picked up by Acells. Fearzly finds 1. Revive attempt doesn't come through. Bronny's looking to try to pressure out toward Identivez. Almost gets hit with a headshot. They finally find that kill. 3v2 now. This is the easy shot on Dezo, but as Guy Blaze said, it's always the easy ones that come back to haunt you. And then he hits an absolute blister of a shot right there. Thanks, Acells. I appreciate you for proving Guy Blaze's point.
Blaze is just smart. Look, as much crap as I give him, that's my job as his duo. Look, hey, at the end of the day, that man is intelligent. He knows gears like no other, and Blaze, he's always going to be right. No matter how hard I try to argue against that man, he always finds a way to just beat me. That's just the way it is. 2v2, Acells, bit of a missed shot. Nasher out, Raver pushes up. Good follow-up shot, though. but he can't bring Raver to his knees. But Acells isn't done yet, is he? No, he continues to push up. Matter of fact, so as well is going to be Hndles from the opposite end. The deadly duo trying to make some magic, but the pinch will only result in one. Now it's a 1v1. Acells desperately trying to line up a snipe. Raver, though, has a real chance. Oh, and there it is, baby! And I know you felt it coming, Colin.
You could feel it coming. I love the initial lineup he had. He was expecting that player to go to the mid portion of that window. Watch this initial slide here. I think we're going to see a couple of these headshots. Magal. Magal. All right, now watch where he aims. Oh, never mind. We're just a little late. I wish we had like 1 more second on that replay. He aims to the middle of those pillars because he thinks that player's going to take the mid cover and then try to blind you over the top and at least give initial pellet damage. Yep. When he realizes the player doesn't do that, he knows that there's only one entrance to that spot now. He can't go super wide behind the... There you go, Identivez. Finally getting some kills there, buddy. You get the 2 with the 4 deaths and 3 assists, getting the skills back in. You're going to have to get around, though, because it'll only be 4-2. You're going to have to go pretty big for a few rounds in a row here. 4 versus 2. Acells going to throw his flash and try to get across the middle here, but he has given his position away, and he's going to get absolutely flown at in just a moment. 3 players in, 3 players out. That'll be a victory. 4-2 on the map right now.
Hey, they tried to push the king and they got shut down. Identivez. Nice 2-piece. That pretty much put the momentum in Pittsburgh Knights' hands, and they take the victory. Makes it a bit more even, bit more, evened up, but still, though, KCP 1 round away from map point to lead potentially 2-0. We haven't seen any big changes. It's really just been a big fight for mid. We have seen KCP get a bit more aggressive in certain rounds. That last round was a good example, pushing Identivez to the brink, but I think their best strat is, well, where we were just seeing Bronny. Unfortunately, he's going to die. Fearzly gets a trade. You mentioned earlier, what's the point of first blood if you're just going to be traded out? It's a hodgepodge of players, 2v2. It's a bit of a fight. The tree getting bloody, but at the end, who's going to end up staying? There's a chance for Hndles to at least even up. He can't. Pittsburgh Knights will remain victorious.
1 round away now, looking to try and get this thing tied up. We've seen this already once tonight where a dominating lead was positioned by United in map 5 and only to have it come back to bite him in the butt at the very end. This time it is the side of the Pioneers with an incredible lead in this matchup right now where they could go up 2-0. They were up 4-1. Now it's 4-3. Another round on the board could find them all knotted up. Dezonide's going to go into the backside of the torque bow. He's going to get tagged up pretty heavily. Full red. Couldn't show himself at all. He has to kind of stay hidden here for a moment. Shot over the top at Xysho. We go on board with Acells just for a moment. But body shot on Dezo. What a cheeky angle there. But the revive is in and through and true, and they will be able to get out with the torque bow is still in the grasp of Dezonide.
That was a great read from Pittsburgh Knights. They knew Acells was going to be lining up that secondary kill shot, but they got the revive and got out to bring it to a 4v4 once again. Now, Acells 2 players in front of him. You still have, of course, on the opposite side, Dezo with the torque bow, and he's hovering around on the other side of Acells. Could see a bit of a torque bow sniper battle, but no, we're not going to get that lucky. Player 2, Dezo, he might want to rotate down and potentially help Fearzly. Fearzly could be in a 1v2, so... You know, this is kind of a rare round where you see a distinct 2v2 on each side of the map. You don't get that too often on 2.
Looking across the middle here where, excuse me, Acells, he's just making sure that Raver doesn't push out for those fragmentation grenades. We have seen it we've seen it once tonight where somebody went for the bait pick on the fragmentation and actually got hit with a torque bow shot. This time it would be a little different as it is the long shot checking that player. It'll be Acells looking toward Raver, bottom side of the map, 2-2, split down there, with one player kind of roaming, looking to be a wing player for both of these teams. 15 seconds to go before the overtime hill spawns. They're just in front of the torque bow, and Dezo, I believe, is in a really good spot here. 4 bolts left. He has left a ton of ammunition to be used with 3 players down here, but 1 kill comes through from Acells and gets a headshot on Raver. That's absolutely massive.
Absolutely massive indeed. Now 4v3 opens up maybe a door, but Dezo connects on the Hndles, but it's going to be KCP on the hill, and that should be all she wrote, and it will be. The collapse in the setup from KCP was really strong.
You cannot die to the headshot on the rotation. You have to find a way to stay behind some kind of cover. The second, the moment, the absolute nanosecond that headshot came through, the Pioneers have a definitive edge in the situation where they're able to kind of play around that final hill now. They don't have to get pressured out. It's up to Dezo to maybe hit a torque bow hero shot. Not going to be able to find any of them. They go down. This time Acells is going to go back to the back pillar. Knights are going to go back to the tried and true. They're going to play over that mid planter. Acells is going to continue to pot shot out to the front side. Big body damage out on everybody. Down on Raver comes through, and this should be the round. I mean, no way, no how do they come back from this in a 3v2. Fearzly trying to hold his angle, trying to hold court at this back pillar. Now 2v2, but Fearzly gets chased out. Identivez now, can he make some heroics happen? Tries to hit that shot over the top, can't hit the first. Now rotates around, and he finds himself in the same corner that Fearzly was in. You ever seen your buddy get mugged and you decided you wanted to go into the same dark alley? Well, that's what Identivez just did right here. He tried to just pop up into the same spot. He said, they're not going to do it to me. No way, no how. And Acells said, yes, indeedy. It's going to happen just the same way to you, brother. 6-3. Pioneers go up 2-0 in this matchup over the side of the Pittsburgh Knights. My pick looking shaky. Taylor's pick looking absolutely fine and fantastic. Acells making it rain on everybody's hopes and dreams from the Pittsburgh Knights side.
Wonderful job. Wonderful job. Wonderful job, KCP. They will lead 2-0. Pittsburgh Knights have to fight back. They're going to have to do so on Training Grounds Escalation. We'll find out if they do after the break. Welcome back, everybody, to the final series of the Gears Pro League Split for Day 6. I'm Taylor Reflections, and we're joined by Colin DeCrow Clark. And, man, KCP up 2-0. We did see life from Pittsburgh Knights, not only on Regency when they started to come back, but even here on Tomb, but wasn't enough. KCP continue to lead the way.
Pioneers have really dominated a lot of the situation. I think one of the best things that the Pioneers have done, granted, I mean, if you're going to get plays like that out of Acells, it's going to be hard to beat them in general. But I really believe in my heart of hearts that the thing the Pioneers have done is get back to basics, shoot for one another, give each other angles, give each other the help necessary, play a little bit more defensively. When they get a little reckless, when they get a little up into somebody's face, they struggle. They generally struggle, and that's what we've seen out of them in their last couple of big matchups, most notably against a team like Rise, where all of a sudden Rise, they say, hey, look, you want to slow it down? We'll slow it down. You want to shoot for each other? We'll shoot for each other. We'll see who comes out on top. And it's just one of those situations where you're now going to have to figure out how you get there and stay there in that final form where you're shooting for each other, calling out, answering, but still have a way to gather that moxie, still have a way to become that same dominant team that won so many majors in a row. Mm-hmm. And they're proving that here against the Knights. They go into an Escalation map 3, Taylor, and the last thing I'll say is just they have to be impressive in their initials. We saw the Knights struggle on this map just last night. They can easily take advantage of those same struggles in spades if the Knights give them the opportunity.
I think the Knights could, obviously give them the opportunity, but I also want to express how good Pittsburgh Knights have also been on Training Grounds in the past, to the point where I looked at them as to be one of the strongest teams on Training Grounds at one point. Obviously, when Monkeys was on the roster and Identivez was no longer, or wasn't here, he was on Rebel. But, I think KCP can definitely value off of strong initials. Obviously, any team can on Escalation. But this is where I think they're going to be the strongest. Put Pittsburgh Knights on the back foot early on and force them to try and make a move. Now, this aggressive push from Hndles, he's forced to make that. He's in a 1v2. That's pretty rare off of the start, especially for the neutral. But it's something you can also capitalize on and go home to home. And that's what KCP is looking to do. It's just if they can execute it. Raver's giving him a bit of a tough time.
Identivez sneaks through, though, and picks up the revive. Bronny's going to have to try to get one of these kills. They're going to get that first shot onto him, get the down onto him. Acells is all by himself. Pioneer's going to try to over-rotate back over to the opposite side, into the B hill. Try to get into a position now to pressure out the 2-to-1 hill advantage. In the God spot is Identivez. He's going to be pretty safe from any kind of shots. Dezonide rolls in, gets behind the B hill as well. They're going to cap that right back up. Triple cap domination being threatened. 3 players coming off of respawn. Flash at Fearzly. Doesn't get stunned by the first. Rotates out. Shot over the top. Gets the kill there. Looks like for now, maybe there is a chance for Pioneers to just stay alive in this round 1. Early going. Still not even to 100 points for either squad.
We're not done yet.
Pittsburgh Knights, though, you got to appreciate that they do at least have some map control, and it's Pioneers looking to regain that. If they possibly can, Dez is going to have to try and at least attack Acells, but it's not going to be that easy since you do have player 2 hiding in the shadows. That's Hndles off in the distance. So there it is. Kansas City Pioneers taking the objective back into their hands, forcing Pittsburgh Knights to make a move, which they will do on the overload.
Now looking for Xysho. Big shots out, trying to get damage on. Bronny will go down. Xysho will trade out, but a quick play right there by Fearzly for the back A will get that kill. Looks like the Knights are going to try to go home to home here. They got one player stuck behind a pillar. Identivez is going to rotate into the hill. They know that they have the advantage on this side of the map. It looks like here Dezonide is going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. One player's above him. One player out to his left. That's going to be Hndles. They hit a big shot onto him. Acells now is going to try to challenge out this 1v. Body shots onto him. Nothing coming just yet. This will be Hndles dropping a flash at his feet, trying to stop the rotation from the Knights to come up from behind him. And again, running across the middle of the map, just without a doubt, keeping this at as high of octane pace as possible. The Knights are just trading hill after hill right now, trying to keep a lead.
It definitely is a struggle, a power battle indeed, and maybe something Pittsburgh Knights can, finally lead on. It seems as if they break towards B. They got the presence. The only player they're going to get through is Xysho, but they also have Bronny with the cross, and that's going to put them in a very difficult position. But does Xysho want to attack? Does he finally want to spring forward and take the 1v2 with the stun? He's going to do that. Hndles, meanwhile, in a big fight against Identivez, and bottom left, you do see Xysho did end up falling, which makes this fight for Hndles that much more important, but also for PK. They're on all 3 hills. And it shouldn't matter if they get the domination or not. They get the win condition in 15 seconds. They've got the map presence. Round 1 should go to PK.
See what Fearzly does here with a big body shot. Will stat pad just a little bit there, as they do have the 2-to-1 hill advantage, like you said. Round 1 will go over to the Knights. Curious to see what the weapon placements will be out of both teams, because I'll be curious to see if the Knights go with a power weapon, if KCP goes with a power weapon, one way or the other. This is a little bit of a differential here. I think that first round might have set them back for just a hair, but I think the Pioneers are pretty much ready for anything.
I think they are. Again, Pioneers, they've seen it all. They've done it all. And at this point, at this level, you've kind of seen a little bit of everything. There shouldn't be anything that throws you off. So Pioneers early on, they're going to forgo their bold talk on their left and opt to place a long shot in hell or under. It's not under bite. What were you calling it earlier, Colin?
The underlook. Above of that is the overlook. That's the underlook.
All right, in the underlook, we got a sniper, and it's going to be fought hard for you. Better believe it. And PK's taking the early stab at it, but KCP's not far behind. Xysho in the underlook, backing up. It's a really awkward battle for sure. Oh, my Lord, it takes an eternity, but at the end, Xysho wins it, gets the sniper, and also gets his teammate back in the fight. Woo-hoo-hoo, yo!
That's what they needed right here with a long shot out. They have a chance for some big playmaking ability. Xysho's going to try to up air around that corner. He's going to get the big body shots from the Boltok of Raver. He's going to get that finishing blow. Xysho trying to skedaddle across the map here. Tries to go for the reaction shot to turn around the 180. Gets the big body shot there. Has some help from the backside from Hndles. Now it's up to Dezo. Dezo finds himself in the same spot. Maybe 2 in a row. Having to worry about here. Hit the kill or the down on Dezo. They don't have the finish. They don't need it.
Nice.
Headshot, though, from Xysho. Helps his teammate at the B-Hill. And pressure has been ensued by the Pioneers. Pressure cooker's turned on, and they are frying up some night meat nice and crispy.
Any body shot at this point is going to definitely hurt Pittsburgh Knights. Raver still stands. He can get back up. Surprisingly, Pittsburgh Knights find real estate on the hill, and I'm not so convinced Pioneers are going to be able to lock this up in a way of domination. In fact, Pittsburgh Knights, as they break through their spawn, get their own home hill, there's a chance they can flip the script and get the objective back in their hands. And even so, Bronny, he is on the run. And I believe it was that snipe right on the down player. The fact that Pittsburgh Knights was able to get him back into the fight call and made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, no kill, just some more damage now at the B-Hill. There's multiple players there.
What's going on? What's going on?
Just they took such good fights to just kind of dwindle it away. Hill after hill, kill after kill right here. Xysho with 3 straight wrap shots. Ooh. I mean, just take a different fight at that point. You don't have to keep getting closer and closer to that position, to the position where you get one shot chunked out, big double shot there. Now the flash will come out. This is going to be a possible run and gun situation. Raver flies right by Xysho, knowing his positioning, gets that first kill, and is now going to bow down to the backside of the hill. Maybe in a spot to angle out. Hndles is down at B. This is a possible triple cap domination situation, but again, this is just Raver by himself. Raver trying to make it happen, trying to get them back into this game. He's going to get some help from the front side of the hill as well. Triple cap domination almost ticks in just one more second. They get the kill on Bronny as well. What an answer!
That's crazy. That is just wild to me that Pittsburgh Knights win that round. Just for KCP to be so close to victory, and then it's gone. Poof, be gone. Like, it just disappears. It just blows my mind. And I go back to the turning point on Depot where that sniper shot hits, but it hits the down player who's getting picked back up. So like you said, it only does additional damage. Then it's a full frontal 4-man push from Pittsburgh Knights. They slowly but surely recover. Granted, they take a lot of bad fights after that. You mentioned Xysho with the wrap shots, just hitting them consistently. It looks like all is lost, but PK continues to fight back and just never gives up. And they win a round that looked like it was absolutely impossible to come back from.
Coming out into the initial of this round, the Knights will take over the right-hand advantage at the underlook, looking for 2 players to go inside. Xysho's fully splashed out, stunned up as well. Body shot comes out, though, and Xysho comes away with a double of his own. Absolutely picture perfectly fine. Trying to make media by Hunter look like an absolute genius with this kind of level of MVP play. Xysho, though, is going to get tagged up here in the middle of the map. Bronny as well. Xysho's going to have to kind of skedaddle behind that pillar, try to save himself for as long as humanly possible. Tries to go for that shot over the top. Won't be able to get that one. He's going to bounce up toward the small set of stairs. Raver might have to worry about getting flanked out here. Shooting out over the top. Tries to help somebody get a kill. It'll be Xysho that ends up having to bite the bullet. Bronny now just continuing to play his life. They get a secondary down. B and C still tagged up by the Knights, but B is about to be under contestation by 2 players from the Pioneers.
All right, Pioneers, like you said, going to be on all 3 hills at the moment. Fearzly, nice kill on the Hndles, but you got to get a touch. And, well, they will manage to get a touch for a little bit. Acells has a chance to shut PK down. Is he going to be able to? Raver backs away. Oh, Acells is getting a bit testy. He will fall. But the damage has been done. Pioneers still have the map presence and the objective, but they've got to get the overlook to stop PK from pushing up.
Maybe looking for another retake here. They're going to try to pressure into this mid-map situation at the overlook. They go to the top side of it. They're going to try to rotate around this position. It'll be just Hndles in front of them. Hndles with any bricks here could put them in a better spot, but Raver hits the biggest of concrete blocks. Flash out toward Acells. Acells going to back away. 2 downs coming through. Identivez is looking to try to stay alive here as the Lancer Fire comes in from the top of the heaven. A lot of Lancer Fire as well. Acells with 2 shots. Acells with a secondary kill. Big body shot there. The Lancer Fire comes in for the help. No down needed. That's 3 down and out, and the Pioneers have a commanding position now on this map and might be able to get it to 2-1 if they just get a finish here on Fearzly.
Fearzly does back away. In the meantime, Pittsburgh Knights going to have to go for it all. Kind of like akin to what they did in round 2, right? Go for that domination and push up. And like you mentioned, Fearzly, he's going to be a main focal point for good reason. He's got the big task of pushing Xysho back, who's been absolutely on fire, but also getting back onto B. Now there is help. Raver's going to be down low. Xysho will fall. Pittsburgh Knights are making headway, but only 4 seconds remain, and Acells is going to shut them down in their tracks. It will not happen. Pittsburgh Knights will finally lose a round in round 3. KCP will show life.
Round 3, the Pioneers show life, and I mean, after the triple kill there, Acells was just picture perfect in that situation, having to back down from 3 players, knowing that he had the 90-degree angle help from the Lancer Fire, from top heaven position. That's how you have to play that. Your teammate has to know to shoot for you. Feathering the trigger, picture perfectly, getting as many damaging shots to connect as possible before pushing straight up into the fight, getting a down and a finish, and then getting the secondary 1-shot chunk. Just beautiful job. That is the turning point. That is the differential in that round for me.
All right, last round of the first half. Main focal point off the rip has to be the sniper just up ahead, which Bronny and Xysho, I mean, more specifically Xysho, he has just been dominating this fight underneath, without question. Raver has had a great game, by the way. 10 and 5, 10 assists, almost 15K damage. He has really been a big factor as to why PK has found so much success in the rounds that they have. Bronny breaks away. He's going to split the dividend. Pittsburgh Knights, though, is going to try and hunt him down. They're going to be successful in doing so. We transfer back to Acells' perspective as he battles against Raver, and Raver cleans him up. Domination ticking through, and it is going to tick through. We're going into the second half with PK leading 3-1.
3-1. Pittsburgh Knights looking to try to start their comeback here, try to make it a 2-1 map count differential going into a map 4 control, but they still got to win 2 more rounds here on map number 3. They got to find a way to get at least 2 more before the Knights, or excuse me, before the Pioneers have any kind of comeback here. Long shot placed down to the underlook. We'll see the Boltok Incendiary on one side of this situation, with the Incendiary on the opposite. So only one weapon placement behind are the Pioneers right now, and we'll see if that comes into favor now that they have their own Incendiary placed.
But it's not going to matter off of at least a long shot fight off the rip. At least it shouldn't matter unless it's elongated and extended. But either way, it's going to be all Nasher and who's going to have the best shot. Has been Xysho, he's been wonderful. Bronny is going to be just there. Big flank from Dezo. Hndles hasn't spotted this just yet, and this could be truly devastating. Utility out, Fearzly gets the sniper back on board with Dezo, still pushing up against Hndles. And this makes the Overlook fight that much more critical, especially if Dezo can win this fight. Pittsburgh Knights would be in a beautiful spot as they do double back, and then we'll have a chance to collapse down onto E. Here's the fight. Fearzly pushing up onto Acells. Acells, bit of a misroll. He's gone. Dezo's still alive. A lot of moving pieces that are definitely positive for PK right now, and that is huge.
Dezo with the beach shield in his hands. Xysho is going to realize it in the 2v1 here momentarily. Triple cap domination starting to ensue. They will have 3 players on the hill. That will be the end of the round. And 4-1 we go. 1 round away from a possible map 4. Played very succinctly and very well by the Knights, and they are now on the doorstep of opportunity in this map.
I mean, they're looking great. They really are. PK plays this map so incredibly well. They're giving different looks, and despite maybe the long shot getting away from them, they're not dwelling on it too much. But I ask you, Colin, Pittsburgh Knights, are they playing perfectly, or are they capitalizing off of KCP's mistakes?
This is the KCP that I hate to see. This is the KCP that makes me vote the Pittsburgh Knights, because they're playing so very loose right now. They are head downing a lot of these situations. Earlier, we saw the long shot come out. You shoot that a second before the revive's coming off, and you're not doing 60% to the guy standing up. You're doing 100% to the down, but not out, and now it's another kill. That's where that changes. Opposite end of that. The one round that the Acells help the Pioneers win, you have to lose a 3v1 at your opponent's home hill to lose that round. Those are the things to me that just tell me that the Knights are playing a little bit harder in this map, and the Pioneers not taking it as serious as they did map 1 or 2.
All right, Acells instant in hand. Raver just up ahead. He's been on fire, literally on fire, but continues to push. What? Someone in chat said Raver is scaring him. I gotta agree with that. Raver's starting to scare me. The man has been absolutely going ballistic. Pittsburgh Knights threatening a domination already once again. Bronny, the last guy who can truly keep this round alive. Obviously, Pittsburgh Knights are going to back away, give Bronny a bit of space, and then slowly and control push up. But Acells, maybe a little bit of life there, but not enough. And Pittsburgh Knights look like they're just having fun. They're soaring the victory. We're going to a map 4.
Map 4 down the pipeline for everybody in chat. We will see the Knights survive 4 now, which is the life that they needed to show somebody. That is an incredible stat line there by Raver. 13, 5, and 13 with 18k damage. I still don't know if that was the highest damage of the night. I believe Acells during their map 3 Vaskar victory had 28,000 damage.
Jesus. And that, because it went to round 9, it was a longer one. I really think Raver could have probably challenged that if this goes to a complete round 9, but it finished 5-1. But Acells' a stat line 28,000. Colin, you don't see that too often at all, brother.
No, not at all. It takes a pretty Herculean effort. It takes a guy that's pretty much playing everywhere on the map at every given round. We just saw Raver basically trying to do that himself, trying to rival that kind of score line with less rounds to play in his matchup. So kudos to him. Really brilliant performance out of Raver in that map number 3. I think the thing that really sets it apart for me is that the Knights were very succinct in their rotations. They were together most of the time, wolf-packing around, finding the help. Things that I talked about makes them a very dangerous team, makes them a very special team. Pioneers, they can just focus up on one more map. If they have any kind of map 4 like they had map 1, this is I don't want to say it's over, but I mean, it is hell's half acre for the Knights to get back into this if Pioneers return to any way, shape, form, or fashion like they did in map 1. That's one of my favorite plays, by the way. That Raver play.
That push down.
Where he pushed past the first kid who was going to get unstunned a little bit earlier and was just right in the grill. It also forces that player to have to turn 180 and try to hit a very, very good shot.
And prioritization was incredible. And I like seeing, I know you love seeing plays like that. And even this one, Acells, I mean, that was a clean series of elimination. This flank from Dezo, that flank from Dezo was so devastating. Hndles spots it, but just in the last second. And this, I mean, this push from Raver, just a second ago he was on fire. And then he still gets the elimination. I mean, total, just ballistic plays. Incredible, really incredible. Pittsburgh Knights needed that, but you're right. If KCP shows any close to life like they did in Regency, 300-168, Ritual Control is going to be pretty nasty. But I want to go back to a couple of splits ago. Pittsburgh Knights, United, they were the kings of Ritual. Identivez on the roster. Has it tapered off PK at all? What do you think?
I look at it like this. The Knights on Ritual have to be able to control the torque bow. One of the things that made the Pioneers and made United so incredibly good at Ritual is the way that they play those power weapons. The torque bow control followed by the kills and the amount of return on their investment in that torque bow gets them and nets them. Also, because of how those corner hills play, the way that they're able to be defended quite easily. This is another one of those maps where that hill becomes the 5th player, the extra defender you need. You got to prioritize P1 through 3. That first altar hill and then that top left and bottom right hills. Extraordinarily important. We saw what a big score lead does for a team. The Pioneers in map 1, dominating performance for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Smooth sailing. It almost didn't matter what the Knights did. They did two perfect hills back to back. Pioneers just kept rotating out, waiting for them to come to the next one, and that's how they solidified the map. That's what the Knights have to do here if they want to take it to a map 5.
Well, map 5, it might be coming, but map 4 is going to be a battle for sure. And if KCP wants to shut this series down, they've got to win it. They do. And they need to bring that same energy, that confidence that they had in map 1 back again in map 4. We know they have the chance to win this. KCP are a phenomenal Ritual team, and they have showcased that time in and time out, beating the likes of United or even Pittsburgh Knights of old with Monkey still in that roster. But it's not going to be easy. At least I don't think it's going to be. After watching Raver do what he just did, and then Fearzly also dropping 16k damage and just a place from Dezo and Identivez in general, I think Pittsburgh Knights are going to fight a lot harder on map 4 than they did on map 1.
Right now, Taylor, I'm going to tell you what. Coming into Ritual with the CQC the way that it is, I've seen the Pioneers have some pretty impressive early rotations, early initials here. Also seen the Knights have some. So this first little engagement, Raver's going to throw this flash to the top side of this mid lane. Beautiful smoke out, though. Sliding back and forth. Xysho's trying to keep himself and his teammate on the feet. Beautiful shot through the smoke right there. Raver had to read the down. Gets it to go. That's 3 up. That's 3 down. Impressive initial by the Knights.
And one player, PK, picking up 3 of those eliminations. I mean, just so well done. That is a statement. You win training rounds 5-1, and then you win the first team fight. Without question, no one can argue that. Dezo, torque bow in hand, you mentioned a big focal point of Pittsburgh Knights' success in the past was focusing on the power weapon. And in this case, Dezo having it for himself is great. One player from KCP is going to drop. That's going to taper them off just a little bit. Acells should die here. He will. That lessens the force. As a matter of fact, KCP only has Hndles and Xysho on the battlefield. They don't even get a touch before they lose half of their roster and they're forced to retreat.
Well, this is where Dezonide has to be very careful. He has to be very precise with whatever rotation he's going to make. He has 1 bolt left. They're going to try to shut this down for the extra few trash time seconds. It looks like they are. They get 1 kill. 1 player has to win that 1v1 on the opposite side of the map. Identivez loses the 1v to the Bronny. Now the opposite side of the map, it's over, it's done with. All the Pioneers have won the early rotation to P2. The Knights, they're going to have 3 players trying to barrel down toward that hill. They're not going to have their 4th player faster than the side of the Pioneers. So this is going to be hell's half acre to cross. Bronny already lancering out multiple players. He gets shot on here to the backside. Oh! Back A there onto Dezo. Tries the sweep back across that front side. Gets an up A off, but doesn't get a big body shot. But Fearzly gets hit with Hndles. Hndles, this is the kind of play I was talking about. He upsets the balance order, upsets the play call of any team. He takes that fight. He wins that fight. Pioneers are well within their right to get right back into this one and tie it up on P2.
And that play from Hndles wouldn't have been possible if Bronny did not hit that first back A. Well done. Bronny has been on fire tonight, and in that moment, he and Hndles were just unstoppable, and they take a 2v3 and they win it. I mean, that is incredible to say. Meanwhile, on the hill, though, Bronny is going to die, and, well, for KCP, they've got to find their way back onto the hill. Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to double the point lead in just a second, and Xysho's off in the distance, and meanwhile, looking at the hill itself, I mean, Penn City Pioneers, are they going to be even able to get close? Pittsburgh Knights are doing a wonderful job overextending and ultimately taking the fight to KCP before they even get close. Plus, they also get the torque bow to boot.
Xysho is going to rotate toward this right side of the map, try to get a pick here on Identivez. You see the Knights, they're coming across the middle of the map. They've gotten an 80 to 31, a little 50 or a little 49-point lead, really, for themselves. This will be a chance, though, for the Pioneers to set up for this next hill. Dezonide's going to rotate all the way back across the map. They're going to try to go through the torque bow this time. I like the long-range rotation by the Knights, and the Knights have to be careful not to get lancered out by, I believe, right there in the middle, Fearzly, by Acells, who was trying to prowl around the middle of the map. But 3 more torques for Xysho. 2 more, but only 3 players to worry about.
All right, KCP fighting hard for sure. This is a tough hill to break, made even more tough with Xysho, torque bow in hand. Big battle on the outside. You see Fearzly battling for his life, and that's Acells disrupting the ebb and flow of PK, not letting them even get close without them feeling ever more uncomfortable, but he does ultimately fall. So now this means Xysho better be ready to go. But an active in play, dodges the stun, sends one flying. Splash damage should have an effect. Dezo, however, will take down Xysho. Torque bow could very well be on the ground. I was not expecting Pittsburgh Knights to break the hill as easily as they did, but that nade absolutely disrupted KCP.
Without a doubt, it did, and now you see the point lead still kind of extending here momentarily for the Knights, but Bronny is on the warpath here, up into that hill, 25 seconds left. And it will rotate over to where the fragmentation grenades spawn, top mid lane portion of the map. Look at the way that the Knights are set up here. They're set up, they're playing over the torque bow. This is what I talked about, the return on investment. You are investing the last 20 seconds of that hill and possibly the first 10 to 15 of the next hill just to win a possible torque bow, just to try to get this power weapon in your hand. If it doesn't pay off in spades in this next hill, what have you given up? What have you wasted?
All right, KCP, this is your time. You finally take the point lead for the first time on this map. Pittsburgh Knights are fighting even harder to regain it back. And look at this push. It could be incredibly fruitful. Now, watch out. Player 6 is going to be hanging out in the shadows. That's Hndles, who is now behind the entire forces of Pittsburgh Knights. That's one you need. You take down Raver. Now you got Identivez. He's focused on Xysho up ahead. Hndles has to back away a little bit. He could get flaked himself, but luckily he's got help from behind. And Bronny, what does he get because of Hndles' great plays? He gets a torque bow. Brilliant plays from KCP.
Patience and preparation, the P's to perfect play calling. Those things will always net you a successful retake, a successful play call in control. Identivez is going to see Raver get popped with the splash damage of torque bow. Now I believe he got hit with some of that splash. That is a hip fire hit right there over the top of that cover. And then he bounces out to get Dezo with the big full spread on the 45. Fearzly trying to retreat. This is where the Pioneers get dangerous, when they start to feel themselves, when they get you scattered out across the map and get you off balance, keep you off a spawn at multiple different times. This is where they become one hell of a team to beat. There are 2 more downs. Those are 2 more bleed outs. The only answer back right now is Raver. He's needing the help from Dezo. The down comes through, but it's revived instantaneously. Dezonide has to stand tall, stand stout, gets one, but goes out. The melee is through, but Raver is true. It will be the end of that retake. The Pioneers will not get into the hill first and will not have the close respawn.
Well, they actually do have the hill, but that's only because of Acells. But like you said, without the close respawn and Pittsburgh Knights pressuring up, Acells surely doesn't stay alive for much longer, and he will not. And it will be up to the remaining members from KCP, the 3, Hndles, Xysho, and Bronny, who will have to push forward and make something happen. You notice, though, Pittsburgh Knights break away. Look at the positioning from Fearzly as well as Identivez.
Looking for this next positioning here.
Finders keepers!
Identivez will be in this position at the small stairs. Acells is going to try to move up in this position. Bouncing around, goes for a little reaction shot. Won't be able to find any shots on right there. And This could be a good little position for Xysho with the torque bow. Starts to rev it up, looking across the middle. There's going to be Identivez here with 2 fragmentation grenades to use in his hands. Not sure what he's going to be able to get just yet, though, for his efforts.
Bronny looking to be the great disruptor. He's already taken down 1. He get 2. Oh, my Lord. He doesn't have to get 2 when his teammates are going to get it. You've been saying all night, Colin, the nades. What's up with them, brother? They've been killing more teammates than they've been killing enemies, and that was a great example of it.
Maybe like exploding golf balls, maybe a little late April Fool's joke on behalf of TC. They only work on your own teammates. Who knows? It could be anything right now, but right now it's just not going to end up coming out in anybody's favor. Fearzly will get that down, though, onto Bronny. They're going to let him bow out for just a few moments, bleed out as well. Xysho with 2 bolts to use, looking for 1 player through the big window. Won't be able to catch Fearzly in the top of the head. There's going to be Raver. Misses him with the active. He revs that for just a moment, trying to let that off. 182, 48. Big differential going in favor of the Pioneers. The Pioneers trying to get as much positioning and power as possible over the hill, but the Knights are right there trying to fight back 1 moment at a time inside of the hill, and they tie it up on this one. They have to try to win a couple of 1v1s around the map. Dezo's going to hit that first shot. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but Dezo started playing that Dizzy Wallin a little bit more, that cowboy hat wearing bad man that is Dizzy Wallin, ever since he wore that cowboy hat and posted it on Twitter.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, there's something behind that. Does it give him that? I know there's lore behind it. What does that character give to Dezo?
Dezo gets a level of blue collar you didn't have before when you play Dizzy. Dizzy is the guy that usually is played by the one willing to do the dirty work. Some pretty famous Dizzies in our history. Of course, we got to talk about Icy. Played Big Rig Dizzy for a while. Icy, as good of a sniper as he has, always had to do the dirty work for his dream team back in the day in Gears UE. Of course, it was always Fatal Strike. Played a big rig Dizzy for a while in UE as well. Just a really couple of incredible players that played him, and that's what Dizzy does. He lets you feel that level of blue collar success.
And Dezo's bringing it in. He's played incredible throughout this entire series, maybe minus map 1. Fearzly, nice shot onto Xysho, and it is neck and neck, 193 to 188. We're back at the start where Pittsburgh Knights did take a considerable lead, but this time around, KCP have got their feet underneath them. They're playing with more energy, a bit of a different energy, in fact, in the start. Hndles, such a heroic effort, but in the end, it's Bronny who has to try and hold it down in conjunction with Xysho. Hill's still contested.
Oh,
it has
no.
been contested for nearly 20-plus seconds.
It's a team kill that can't happen right here. What you're going to see is Identivez to the front side of the hill, has to try to get 1 more kill, but he gets chunked out. Raver finally gets a double kill to settle the tea kettle and get inside of the hill. 40 seconds left, gets you up over 200 points and gets you in a pretty big clutch position to try to hold on to the final portions of this map 4 and try to win this one. Right now, Taylor, this reset is huge for the Pioneers. They need another 15-20 second neutralization. They can't let this get too much out of hand. Having the neutralization right now, but Xysho goes down. Rap shot comes in for the kill on him. 2 down and out for the side of the Pioneers. Now 3 down and out, and the final moments will go over to the Knights, and the Knights, they're going to rotate through the bottom side of the map, and I like that. I really like that play call, because instead of pressuring straight toward the hill, they want to try to ensure the close respawn.
And this does pay off, at least for the time being. Pittsburgh Knights, can they do is we do see a bit of a scrappy fight to control the next hill, and Fearzly has a real chance to make something happen in conjunction with Identivez, and also another torpo going towards Raver. Oh, I thought that was a team kill, but Fearzly finds Hndles. Well done. Oh, and then nice. Did you see Bronny just absolutely fall apart? Raver from a distance. You mentioned Pittsburgh Knights and their success comes with the power weapons, or at least it has in the past historically. I swear to you, they've had the torque bow nearly every single time. The only time I think Bronny had one is when he got it off of a dead player.
Identivez is going to go down there. Quick little revive comes out as well. Now looking for a chance here. This is going to be Hndles pushing back out from that spawn point. 233 to 205 at this point. Ton of time left, 45 seconds. Looking to try to keep hold of this close respawn as well. Xysho is going to be in this spot looking forward. I like the smoke play. He's going to throw the smoke to try to keep the clouded angles, keep up the clouded numbers. That's going to be a mark onto him. Lancer Fire is going to come out, and Taylor This is where the Knights need to get a little decisive. Do they continue to hold on to the neutralization? Do they try to rotate across the map early? When you're playing against the Pioneers, any second guessing is never going to be good for you or your squadron.
A bit of a team fight, though. And already PK has lost 2 members. The third will fall, and that was Acells winning that entire fight inside the hill. That will net them enough points to catch up and retake the point lead once again. As we do rotate over for the next, Pittsburgh Knights have kind of set up a fatal funnel to, make any KCP member a little bit more uncomfortable. Xysho backs away, but Fearzly and Dezo will hunt him down. Dezo will also pick up another, and
that's a big Dizzy play right there.
You love to see it.
He played up on Hndles almost instantaneously to get the shot over the top. That's not the position you want to get. Oh, Acells has to be called out right here. He's going to have the front of the hill. I don't think they have the shot to use, though, and Xysho now has the nades. Flashes are going to come in. Xysho's job right here is to throw a nade to the backside of that hill and keep them off that ledge, keep them away from this position. Identivez is going to bring in that Torco. Oh, big bank nade throw to the backside. He gets damage, and they get down on Dezo. This could be catastrophic for the Knights right here.
It could, but it can also be good depending on Identivez, how he decides to play this. Hndles, though, has already brought one down to his knees, and now Identivez can be pressured. He has no choice but to pull the Nash route. He'll backpack the Torco, but he dies. At this point, KCP could win off of this hill, and Colin, you're right. That could have been a misplay that Pittsburgh Knights will regret.
Acells will be inside of the hill, 35 seconds to go. Not enough time to necessarily ensure the victory because it takes a second or two maybe to neutralize it out to try to keep them from winning it, but they are certainly well within their rights to win it. As you can see, neutralization has come in. They got to keep in there for about 5 to 10 seconds or get these kills. Big body shot by Bronny gets the kill, but the Knights, they answer back. They get the kills, but they know now they're not in the driver's seat. They have to come full frontal assault to this next hill and be ready to then play defense, because look at this, barreling down at all angles from all lanes are multiple players from the side of the Pioneers, and the Knights have to play defense here. Can the Knights saddle up? Can they get into a position to make this life a little bit harder? Acells is going to tag up onto Identivez. Identivez was in a 1v1 spot, but it looks like Fearzly's trying to help him out, trying to get this down. Acells is there for the possible flank. This is going to be a revive. There's the flash. Acells is going to fly at him. One. Acells the body shot. He goes down, though. Beautiful trade out by Fearzly, but Dezo has to find a double. Dezo only finds one. He's going to have to leave Fearzly in a 1v1. Fearzly moves up into the neutralization position, bounces in, needs to get the kill quickly. He does so. This is a position now for the Knights to try to play defense. Xysho will move up, looking for the little cheeky angle there around the cubby. He's going to get into the neutralization spot, but he goes down. This is where the Knights have one real good chance to win it. If they can get a big couple of kills, this is it. Acells dies with the fragmentation grenades. Dezo with a torque. Raver goes down in the middle of the map. Smoke comes through. What will they do? Who will they call? Will it be the Pioneers neutralizing and winning out this final hill?
It's up to Bronny. Bronny can do it. Bronny is doing it. Identivez falls. Dezo backs away, protecting the torque bow. Now just 10 seconds away. Oh, less than 10 seconds. It's going to be KCP. Pittsburgh Knights, they've got to get in the hill. They've got the presence on the outside, but they have to penetrate. They've got to break it, and they've got one chance to do it successfully. Torquebow's going to be missed. Hndles on the outside. He's going to be over cover. He's going to end up falling. Bronny's forced all the way back. Pittsburgh Knights have broke the hill.
There's enough time.
No, there is.
There is enough time, and they're going to get squished.
There is enough time.
They're going to get squished. They're going to get squished. One player on one side, two on the other. The fourth coming to the front side. This is going to be Acells' chance to up A. That's a big kill. That's a big kill. 3 seconds is all that's needed. They're not going to be able to get it. They're not going to get it. It's 1 second. It's 1 second. It's a race. They're on their high horse. It's a Kentucky Derby and a half, baby. Dezo, he gets in the hill for the final moment.
PK.
Map
PK.
Number 5, Taylor.
PK gets it. They get the final tick, and they win with literally 3 seconds to spare. What a magnificent round that was.
Magnificent round, a better map, and a better series. Maybe our best of the night. If you want to see the conclusion of it, ladies and gentlemen, don't you go anywhere.
Welcome Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 4 Day 6. Colin, what an ending that was to map number 4 to send PK to a Game 5 against KCP.
Unbelievable situation right there. I mean, just the level of pressure for the end of that map, the kills that were necessary. Not a one, not a maybe, not a okay, we can get them. Gotta have them. And it was probably, I would say, probably 12 kills in a sequence where players were just coming back into the next fight. The Knights... God.
Threw you off a little bit there. Exploding golf balls. Learned about those a little bit ago from you.
I give up on the point. They did really well in the end, but they did not do good in that moment. Great in the end, terrible in that moment.
Terrible in that moment. 3 points, man. 3 points, and we're getting towards the tail end now with the replays, 286 to 278, and there was a moment where Pittsburgh Knights, or excuse me, KCP could close it out. I mean, look, 4 points away, Colin, and Pittsburgh Knights needed to hold on in the final seconds. And it was a must-hold, and in this case, it was a must-contest from Acells' perspective. He gets the kill needed, but it was, like you said, Kentucky Derby, a sprint, a race, and what ends 300 to 96. So 4 points separated, but I mean, at that point, you're just... I mean, what does it matter? 1 point. That is just insane to me. And the fact that we're going to Canals Execution Map 5 is really incredible in its own way. And you got to say, Pittsburgh Knights clearly have the momentum at this point. They've won 2 maps in a row. They won Training Grounds 5-1. They won Ritual off just a nail biter. I mean, they're going into Canals probably feeling on top of the world.
So I know he's not going to hear this for a few minutes. I almost want to DM him in the Pro League caster chat because Blaze in chat said he got a deep spawn. Unfortunate.
That's what he said. Yep, I did see that.
So, is there any shot, Voice of God, that we can bring up any kind of mini? Never mind, we're not going to have time. I'm going to have to do like I'll just make a video on Twitter for it and show it because it was the only spawn the game would like legally, computerly, like whatever the algorithm is, give him at that point. They're not going to spawn him on Torquebow. They're not going to spawn him at next hill, and he can't spawn right because 2 players from the Knights have already gone right. It wasn't unfortunate. It was a good kill by the Knights followed by a better rotation. So it's not necessarily unfortunate. It's just the only spawn he's technically able to get in that situation. There was no secondary spawn for him to have.
Spawns, the bane of existence sometimes for
it's understanding your positioning so much because there's so many times where you're playing over a hill and you understand that for the first 3/4 of a hill you want to play one way to try to get a close respawn, and then for those last 15 to 30 seconds maybe you maybe play a different way. Maybe instead of dying on this side of the hill you want to die on the opposite side of the hill. Maybe you just bounce through to try to get further away onto that side of the map to try to encourage a different spawn. But that didn't happen. They kept spawning on far left. They kept dying on the left-hand side of the hill. It was the only place for them to go. It's the only place they could have been put. It's a great heads-up play by the Knights. Let's see if they can have a great heads-up play here at the front side of the bridge. Lancer damage galore right there. Xysho will see that his teammate is down. They get the finish on him as well. Long shots picked up by both teams down to the front side of the hill. I believe Hndles brought the long shot all the way down to the front side of the bridge.
Yeah. And Dezo's still up top in the typical position you expect him to be in, and opposite of him is going to be Acells. Bit of a missed shot. Acells has a chance maybe to at least take one player down. He can't. Now it's a 4v2. Tough selling for Xysho and Hndles. Make that a 2v3. Xysho desperately trying to stay alive. Picking up one player there would be great, but he trying to bait out Xysho, and well, Pittsburgh Knights see it coming. Round 1 ends in 47 seconds. That first down was really nice to see. You don't see the Lancer fire focus on the front spawn player who's trying to take over mid-bridge as much as you just did with PK capitalizing.
The Knights did a great job of throwing kind of a little swing differential right there. Instead of pressuring the mid-bridge, they double Lancer the first guy. I'll be curious to see if they do something different right here. because of the fact that I think there's going to be a chance for them to maybe take back a shot here. Here comes the flash. Roll up from the side of Raver. Raver's going to look back down, but Hndles is going to get his head blown clean off by Dezo. Another kill comes through. 4v2 on the map right now.
You're bleeding good now.
I'll make that a 3v2. Acells finds a way to at least even up the odds just a little bit. 2 players from PK on mid-bridge. And, of course, Dezo taking that back bridge position to just try and be the overlord for his teammates who are trying to stay alive in the moment. Xysho, a chance maybe to get an off angle on Fearzly. Fearzly's the guys that can take away Dezo. Another great shot brings Xysho as the last player up. It's got to dodge the nade, send it flying. Opens up a chance maybe for Dezo to get another great shot. A body is good. A body is good to at least keep the pressure up on Xysho. Xysho's dead here for sure. Pittsburgh Knights 2 up.
Good 2 first-round start by the side of the Knights here. And again, that round boils down to, yes, the double kill is great, but you take Hndles away that early in the round. You get that headshot as Dezonide. You get that headshot on Hndles, and it's no longer kind of a safety play to rotate freely around the map. You don't have the long shot with its overlook on you. As you try to get from one side of the map to the other, as you try to go cross bridges, you can only worry about yourself getting body shotted. That's the big differential in that round.
Woo. KCP, they got to get their feet underneath them. They're feeling the pressure, especially after that loss just a little bit earlier. This nade could be absolutely devastating. You won't get any of them, but KCP continues to push up. I'm dumbfounded by that, Colin. I thought the nade would be truly impactful. Acells, though, holding his ground. So is Hndles, and potentially the first round going to the way of KCP. If Fearzly doesn't make a miraculous play, well done, KCP.
You saw that J-Ribs right there. Don't tell me you didn't see it. Melee revive, that's the Ribs play right there, baby.
Oh, I thought you were talking directly to Ribs, which you absolutely have the power to do.
Do what, goalie? He did! He took your move, Ribs! See? You think I don't watch every player all the time? Oh, hey. I know who's got the moves, baby. I know who's got the moves like Jagger and who got the moves like Ribs. My man stole Ribs' moves.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Unless you're talking about imitation crab meat, then it's really not flattery at all. It just doesn't hit the same as real crab meat, okay? 4-4, still tied up, and
Mr. Krabs
couple players feeling some pressure, but 3v4 now, and KCP once again losing a member.
Hey, I gotta ask you, Taylor, because you brought up imitation crab meat. After this round, 3v4 still, 2v4 now. Hndles trying to get back into the engagements, trying to double up into one player, but he's gonna go down. Do you buy into the theory that the Krabby Patty is made out of crab meat, and that's why Mr. Krabs doesn't have any relatives in the show? You only see I think it's a lobster at one point, but you don't ever see any crabs. Do you buy into that theory?
I've never heard that theory before, but you just kind of killed SpongeBob for me.
I'm sorry, brother.
I've been watching that since it came out. Now I'm thinking about Mr. Krabs just massacring his whole family for profit, which is something Mr. Krabs would absolutely do. The guy loves money. Yeah, the guy loves money, dude. Hey, so family, they might have to take a back seat.
Let's go with it down on Xysho, the quick revive. Now the double shot's coming in, but Acells wins a fight toward back lane, back connector. There's the up A by Fearzly. Traded out, 3v3 on the map right now. Hndles and Acells have the front side of the mid bridge. They're going to rotate around the map as best as they can. Looking for a headshot right here. Not going to be able to find that one. Hndles is holding down back connector here with the long shot. Actually, no, he switched over to Nasher. I think he assumes that somewhere... Oh, hit him with the shoulder. Hit him in the elbow. Shoot his elbow off. Shoot the shot.
Shoot the shot, please, for dear Lord. Just shoot it. Oh, there's nobody to shoot at the moment, so Hndles will take his time for the time being. This is a big round as far as I'm concerned for KCP. I mean, Pittsburgh Knights have had so much momentum off the past 2 maps, and it's not slowing down. KCP has to shut it down.
Oh, hootenannies.
Eyes on target.
A lot of repositioning.
They've got to give it.
Here we go. There it is. Nice shot handles on the Fearzly.
No, Raver got one back on the Xysho.
It's a 2v2. It's a nice body shot. Yo, for a second, I thought it was a heady.
Where is the overtime's got to be up top. Got to be up top.
Oh, my Lord, you are a disgusting human being. Disgusting. He's been on fire with the sniper. Oh, Canals long. And now it's Hndles. I mean, he's trapped. He's trapped between a torque bow. That's his opportunity, and he gets it. It's a 1v1 sniper. God damn, that was a good round. Damn, that was a good round.
My man Hndles right there, looking like frickin' Jordan in the flu game, all by himself against a long shot. Trapped between a rat.
Damn, that was a good round.
A rock and a hard place. My man absolutely comes out on top. You got to wash that around away, by the way, if you're the Knights. If that haunts you, it's over.
Incredible. I mean, that had me throwing things and hitting things, bro. I don't normally do that. That was just, I lost composure. 4v3, you mentioned PK, throw that round away. They've already started off with first blood. Xysho will get the torque bow in his favor. Watch out, it's now becoming a little bit more competitive. 3v2, Hndles is waking up, ladies and gentlemen. Hndles on bridge. Raver 1v2, he's got no choice but to push up. Surely he dies. Xysho, Acells, won't give him an inch. We're tied up 3-3.
3-3, and I mean that's that. Like I said, that's got to. I hope that doesn't haunt them, because that is a. If you don't wash that away, this is a Pioneers map through and through. They're about to go on an absolute tear right here.
It's kicking time.
All right, here's the breakout. And Torquebo's been a pretty constant contestant spot. Pittsburgh Knights and KCP have kind of been valuing it. Nice shot, but Dezo unfortunately doesn't connect. But it's enough damage done to allow PK to get 2 down. But it is going to be answered back. You got to respect that, Colin. KCP has done a wonderful job at answering back every round, it seems. It's now 2v2.
My mark.
Acells and Hndles versus Fearzly and Raver. They're going to roll to the backside of that cover. Fearzly's going to hit with a body shot here, but he's not going to go down just yet.
Enemy.
Raver with the torque bow in hands, trying to rotate around the map, but he's been marked, and this is a chance for Hndles to maybe hit him with a body shot, try to put him down. Misses the shot into the cubby. Raver tries to hit a shot on the top of that pillar. Fearzly's trying to come on a flank here. Throws a nade over the top of Hndles. Can't necessarily chase it out, but the wrap shot is perfect for Fearzly right there.
Acells, he's got to make some big plays. He's been doing so, but it's hard to close the gap. And in this case, Fearzly, I mean, good shots. He exposed himself potentially to Torquebo. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it down. That down could have been everything. And Raver misses the shot. Acells, though, still can't get up close enough to get a chunk, but finds a pillar to hide behind and puts up a tremendous effort. But Colin, it wasn't going to happen.
Just continuing to put themselves in the best possible position that they can each and every time. The Pioneers are right there on the cusp of winning almost every damn round they find themselves in here against the Knights. The Knights are having to play, I would say, perfect. I don't even say near perfect. I don't want to say picture perfect. They are playing as good as they can physically play, and the Pioneers just seemingly are right there with them in lockstep and toe, and are just a step or two, a pellet or two, a shot or two away from taking over a round or a map. Dezonide tries to look back to the front. Bronny's going to go down. Raver's going to try to get to the top side of this bridge. Now Acells to the back side of this hill. Hndles is going to go down to the headshot of Dezo, though. Now it's 4v3 on the map. This could be 5-3. Now 4v2. This should be 5-3, but I don't want to speak too soon. We've seen the Pioneers pull out some miracles.
That's right. I mean, every time it seems like they're down and out, they find a way to come back. But this time, I think it's pretty safe to call Pittsburgh Knights are going to be on that point, serious point. Bronny, miraculous a player as he is, 1v4s and execution, just, they don't happen too often. And there it is. Call it. PK 1 round away from defeating KCP after a reverse comeback being down 2-0.
It's a long way to go. Beating the Pioneers in 1 round is an extraordinarily tough thing to do. They are up at this point. They've done it 5 times before on this map, but now it's about closing. One thing we know the Pioneers can do, it is close deals. And one thing we know the Knights are trying to do is extinguish demons. Can they do it here? Flash goes out. Raver's going to get shot up. He's going to get the double stun. Fearzly tries to rotate up there, tries to get a revive off, tries to get them behind some pillar coverage. Going to get pinched out here. One down comes through, and there's the wrap. And like I said, Taylor, if the Knights come out here and want to win, they needed to shut it down right here, right now. We're seeing around 11, baby. I got bad news for you.
Wow, already calling it. Colin is
got bad news for you.
It. Might as well be Blaze Jr.
Do you want me to cover my eyes for the next round?
You do what you want, baby. At this point, Colin, I believe it. I believe in you. But I mean, seriously, I want to bring it to Dezo because he's been so good. How much of an impact is Dezo's initial snipes for the victory of Pittsburgh Knights? Because, I mean, when that man connects, PK wins.
It's impressive, but that round was more impactful by the front bridge play of the Pioneers. They change up the strategy. They go with the double Lancer there. This time, they're going to go with 2 players toward the backside of the map. A body shot doesn't even connect there. They're going to pressure across the back connector. Front side of the bridge, they're going to have the torque bow and 1 player playing toward those sandbags. Raver will have the torque in hand. He's going to be marked out. Shot over the top may come through, but Acells is not going to be able to get that damaging shot just yet. Raver's looking to try to get a picture-perfect shot on the Xysho. Not going to be able to do this one. All knotted up, 4-4 here, but both power weapons in the hands of the Pittsburgh Knights. Only thing not picked up yet are the fragmentation grenades.
This has been such an incredible series. One have to come back from PK. Oh, it hits the edge. It hits the edge. Raver sends one on the ground. And you're calling it something. It doesn't happen, unfortunately, but Fearzly does get the nades. Fearzly does get the... Oh, he just gets away! But Acells is dead, and Pittsburgh Knights have the man advantage.
2 people!
Oh, my lord, it's over!
Jesus.
It's over! Pittsburgh Knights have defeated KCP, and they will, in fact, be your victors for tonight after a wonderful reverse sweep, being down 2-0. I mean, you got to give it to them, representing Latin America and doing it well.
Reverse sweep, ladies and gentlemen. That is impressive. Fearzly putting the backpack on for that last map, getting the MVP, but the MVP probably had to be either Raver or Dezonide, getting those early E-lins for Dezo. But I think, honestly, I got to give it to... I'm going to give the nod to Raver and Fearzly in that map. The front bridge play of mid-bridge, where they were either lancering, playing up into the shoddy battle, puts them in a much better position round in and round out. Just picture perfect. So the 2 of them dictate the pacing of the map perfectly. Raver gets that initial pick with the torque bow, but the bigger situation is the double kill with the fragmentations. Those 2 players, Hndles and whoever was with him, I can't even remember who it was at this point. I'll have to watch the replay over here on this monitor. Whoever was with Hndles, they just got to pressure. Just go across back connector. Take the fight. If you get hit with a body shot, there's somebody right there to maybe pick you up with a quick revive. But this is just not that situation where you roll back into a possible 4v3 or a 4v2 situation where you're now collapsed upon inside of back connector. You're trapped like rats. That is what they decided to do. That's why they end up losing that round.
Going through some stats from Pittsburgh Knights, we know Raver played just out of his mind on training grounds, Colin, without question. I mean, he was just looking so scary. Even Chad was scared of him at certain points, at least certain people were. And then Raver's stats were just out of this world on Canals. He went 11-5. He had 8 assists. He had 10k damage. And he had 4 first bloods. So you talk about that front spawn, like Raver was really giving it to the roster of KCP. But on the flip end, I do appreciate KCP's ability to consistently come back in rounds. You know, they lose 6-4, but you got to give them credit where credit is due. There were so many times where they were first blooded, or even at times they would lose 2 members off the rib, and they would find some way to make the round competitive. But that round from Hndles just was insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible gaming performance. We saw a ton of highlight plays that entire time. Pioneers gave it their best effort. This is the best possible version of the Knights we have seen, not ever, but just in general this split, because they have had such a hell's half acre of closing, and then they get 3-0'd by Northern Forces, and then they struggle last night against the team they shouldn't. And then they come out here and they reverse sweep the Pioneers. These are the things that humble you. This is the humble pie situation.
Oh, yeah. Well, my concern is KCP has already kind of been in a bit of a slump mentally. And to fight that hard and lose, normally I think KCP snaps back and losses like this don't affect them as much. But I think this loss could affect them a great deal. Now, granted, you got E-Days tomorrow. I'm sure they're going to be there. They'll play in it. But they do have a little bit of time, obviously a week off now before they go back into Pro League once again on Tuesday. But I really think this loss is going to hurt them quite a bit. And something they've been battling with, again, is just that mental hurdle. I think losing that last major definitely tapered off, like, not ego per se, but that energy that they had. They could just go in and destroy and beat everybody. But I think teams now feel a lot more confident to go in and battle against them, and they know that they can, potentially dethrone KCP. And PK had that mentality and never gave up. That composure was insane. I loved it.
You know the saying, once you know God can bleed, you stop believing. When they lost in this last major, God can bleed. They made him bleed, and that, like you said, has given the rest of the Pro League a different mentality going up against them. You saw people, quite literally, all pun intended, rise up in the last major and take them to task. Go against the United, take them to task. Now there's a different organization, a different group of players sitting on the throne. The Pioneers, if they want to try to take that throne back for the final major, the final tournament of Gears 5 esports, they got a long way to go, man. You've been outcasted from the kingdom. The keys are no longer yours. You're going to have to battle back through field, fire, and hell to try to get back into those towers and back into those pearly gates. Because, boy, Rise is looking fantastic. You're looking like you're struggling. And the Knights, they're up and down. E United, they get beat tonight by Rebel. The rest of the Pro League, I mean, it's a banner war. Call your bannermen, get your hype in chat, get your energy, get your fans, get everything you can get behind you. But everybody is chasing the king sitting on top of the throne right now in Rise.
Yeah. And Rise isn't backing down. They refuse to lose. It refused to lose, brother. And they're feeling good. They're feeling great. I want to take it a step back, though, and bring it back to the E-United Rebel series. We talked about Rebel, obviously dethroning, or not dethroning, but at least beating E-United. That was a massive victory for them to take. But I want to hone in on our eSwap X Pro Controller play of the day.
Was it one of the ones I called?
It's one of you, absolutely one of the ones you called. You were spot on, brother. Break it down for me.
Well, this is what I want to call here. TJ's going to drop this flash. He hits that first shot, sees the bounce. He's going to wait. He's going to mark up that one. The first kill is probably the most impressive. That headshot, though, on that. So here's the up A. Makes him wiggle waggle, makes him miss the second shot, so he's only barely hurt. The flash is not going to get the stun, but he hits enough of a shot here. The rollback to cause the dodge, followed by the lineup. He's just letting him use his movement against himself. Crack is going to get hit from two different spots. Dyslexic and TJ. Last time seeing it, there's the miss, so he's 10, 20%. A secondary miss where he's 40 or 50. Lines up a big body shot there for the chunk, and this is it. Boom! The headshot after the player's damaged up enough. That Boltok, ever lurking, ever dangerous. That's why you see it as that first weapon placement always on Escalation, and you might get some big plays like that one out of just about anybody in our Pro League.
Well, TJ, without a doubt, earned our eSwap X Pro Controller play of the day. He's incredible. I mean, he really is. And the plays he was making tonight were just insane. And I'm honestly sad tonight is done at this point because we have seen so much great action, and I mean that without question. Fury 1, though, opened up the day by beating Digital Slayers 3-0 in a very convincing fashion outside of Tomb that went to round 11. Ritual 300-146, Training Grounds 5-1. Rebel, I mean, just such a massive victory over E United. That shows to me, again, that composure is there, and they know they can beat anybody, and that's, a good example of that. Northern Forces' big victory over Casa de Papel. Cells was just insane, 28k damage, and Pioneers losing to Pittsburgh Knights. PK, what a victory. They worked hard for that. They really did, especially after a sluggish week last week, Colin, but they did it, and they ended up taking the victory. But Colin, after all these results, where do we stand on the standings?
Well, we see Rise atop of everybody, 5-0. They are a game behind Pittsburgh Knights, have played 6 games, whereas most of the other teams have played either 5 or 6. Digital Slayers yet to find a win. The only thing they might be slaying is the donut they're eating in the win column, but there you see it right in the middle of that situation. 3-2 for E United, 3-3 for the Pioneers, 3-3 for the Northern Forces. I mean, we've got 4 teams, even throw Casa de Papel in there. You've got 4 teams, 4 through 7. It's literal, and Fury 1, they're 2-4. Literal warfare down there. Just literally just battling for your best possible position. 60% for 4th place, and then 48, 52, 40 for the next one. Back up to 50 for Fury 1, even though they got the same win-loss record as Casa de Papel. They've won 10% more of the maps that they've played. Just absolute war at the shore in the middle of our Pro League standings. It is nice and refreshing to see that for our final split of Gears 5 Esports, we are getting the best possible shot at all these teams.
And no pressure for relegation as well. That was something I mentioned at the beginning, but, you know, they're obviously not going to get relegated. There's only one more split left. This is the final split. So that pressure's off. Now it's just all about trying to beat your opponents, but more importantly, lock it in for the major that's going to be coming up. And next Tuesday is going to be awesome. Let's take a look at our schedule, Colin, and get a little bit of a sneak peek. I don't know if you're casting on Tuesday. I don't memorize.
It's the day after my birthday. The day of my birthday.
What? June 6th is your birthday?
Yes, sir. Shout out one time Taylor Reflections Noble for the quote. Yes, sir.
Chat, don't forget that. June 6th is his birthday, so June 7th, we got to send them off right, all right? Let's look at it. Rise and Team Queso, Fury 1 Rebel, Digital Slayers Casa, Northern Forces E United. There's one that I think stands out the most. There it is. Hype it up, Colin. And what stands out the most? Which one is it? Colin. Is he dead? Did we lose him? The one that he's... Look, chat, we already know. Northern Forces E United. They play against each other. He's the biggest E United fan, and the Northern Forces is that he's literally gone. That's how much of an impact that Northern Forces E United is gone. The boogeyman is gone. You're casting it. You're going to have to do it, brother. You just got to accept reality for what it is. Your dad's going to play against your favorite org, E United, all right?
Well, my dad's getting the nod. I can already tell you. I'm not picking against my dad. Not picking against my dad. The rest of the split.
You're gonna pick Northern Forces over E United?
Yes, sir. Don't care. Not picking against my dad. I literally got emotional about it last night. I'm gonna get emotional about it for the rest of this split. And you
just don't want to get called out by Acells again.
No, I don't give a damn about getting called out. I get called out 400 billion times a night. It occurred to me during the matchup where I didn't pick Northern Forces that I would only have so many more opportunities for God knows how long, if ever, if he doesn't come back to Gears Esports to pick and cheer for and be in the corner of Kenny Bounce. And
so every time now.
Yeah.
Just like KCP.
I'm getting emotional thinking about it again. I will be damned if I do not stand in that corner as the biggest fan that's not named Letnick. So doesn't matter who they play, doesn't matter when they play, doesn't matter where they play, doesn't matter what maps they play. I'm picking Kenny Bounce, period. Point blank, end of story.
Kenny Bounce, bottom line, period. All right, Northern Forces then. They've got your nod of approval. I like it. They look great tonight. Acells with 28k damage is real. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I think I've seen 30k a couple of times, but 28k is definitely pushing it. Absolute insanity. Colin, it's been a great night. I mean, really, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and man, the matches were great. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's only a few more weeks left of this. Come and chat, have fun, and as always, do not forget whether it is here, now, today, tomorrow, or forever from now, gears, they do not stop turning.
Beautifully said, Colin. Love you, man. I really do. You're awesome.
Thank you, brother.
And I love all of you in chat. Even
Bleach for Brains' birthday is the 5th, by the way.
Is the 5th? So we got Bleach for Brains on the 5th, you on the 6th, and then the 7th is just... good old Gears Esports. You know, you love to see that. Hey, it's going to be a great time when we get to that point. It's going to be a good time tomorrow. We've got UMG Gaming on Twitch. We're going to be doing E-Days, 5 Eastern. We would absolutely love to have you. I believe it's week 3 if I'm not mistaken, but math is hard. For myself, Taylor Reflections, Noble, Colin DeCrow, Clark, production team, and you in chat. Thank you for being here for another Gears Esports day. We hope to see you again. UMG Gaming tomorrow for Emergence Days, week number 3, 5 Eastern. It's going to be a good time.